everybody. So I am hoping to keep it short. It's about already 5 p.m. I have to finish something with my job applications. Yeah, and it's super dark already because we are in Finland on December 13th, Friday. Um, and I have something cooking there, and kids are coming soon from daycare, so I have to wrap this up. And I wrote a lot of notes what to discuss. I hope I can manage to not be too long-winded. Okay, I wanted to discuss about the Scarlet number of job applications for postdoc, and it is inspired by the Scarlet letter. And what does the Scarlet letter mean? Uh, I wrote it. I had it somewhere. Hold on, let me go back. So, according to the mass.gov website, um, Nathaniel Hawthorne's novel, and I apologize for the bad pronunciation, The Scarlet Letter from 1850 describes the plight of Hester Prune, who has been forced to wear scarlet letter A for adultery on her dress as a sign of shame. So it is a letter of shame. Uh, and I'm talking about the scarlet number, kind of the number of shame. mm, so, um, what is my number of shame? I started applying for postdocs in 2021 because already the graduation was on the horizon then. I had 22 outright rejections, but additional 5 applications where I didn't get any answer, so 27 total applications. That's my number of shame from 2021. And then 2022, I can't see my own number. It was 19 plus 5 non-rejections, but they are rejections because they never got back to me, so total 24. And that's where I had heard comments in 2022 about the number of applications, that sometimes people look at it as a negative. If you have too many applications, they think that some people think if you have too many applications, it means that you didn't put enough work to focus your application there into that each specific job description. And maybe that's true for some people. It wasn't true for me. I did try for each application to the best of my ability, and maybe sacrifice too much in terms of actually family time in the evenings and sleep time in the night um, to do these applications. And I think I went above and beyond what my PhD environment offered me, and went and initiated discussions with people and contacts and visited universities all on my own initiative to give different type of seminars. So I did a lot of footwork at that time, and remember there was even COVID, so I was reaching out to do Zoom seminars and conferences. I did that, and then I couldn't do that much because I had a baby, my second baby, so I didn't want to travel that much after that, so I didn't. If there was, I did local presentations, but yeah, that's some kind of prejudice you might have to go against when people say, oh, you've applied to too many jobs, you are not serious about any of them. But actually, if somebody is economically disadvantaged, like I have a background, well, now it's okay, but especially before in my life, I went through very serious financial hardships, and I had dependents. I was helping my family. People were depending on me working, so I had to put extra effort, meaning also extra number of applications, just to make sure I get at least one. So it is a different perspective, which some people in academia who come from kind of a cushy background, or they can rely on staying with their family member, and are not aware. At least that's what I think. That some people really, it's not just a postdoc job. It's also a way to bring up money into your to support your life. So you apply to many jobs in order to at least get one. Also for kind of trying to hit that goal, because if you don't get a job and you don't get funding, then you cannot afford rent, or you cannot afford to support your kids or even just yourself. All right, and in 2023, by that time I already did all of my PhD requirements, and I went all out. I promised myself not to do it, but I did. So I applied for 52 total positions, which is a rejected 44 of them or never replied. So these are my numbers. And now I'm trying again, so the total is more than 100. I have, I don't know how many I will apply for now. And I think is a meaningless number. It doesn't mean anything. It's definitely not a sign of shame. So where are my notes? It's a little bit also, you've got to do what you've got to do, and sometimes, unfortunately, people want to understand where you are coming from in general in life, because they're used to only certain type of situation, or they don't have this open-minded awareness, which is hard to be aware about everything. So not that I'm criticizing people. So that brings to me also this concept of shame, and that comes also into science, into academia, as it relates to women. And I have had my fair share of experiences, and also things that I've heard, like, for example, often when people discuss women working versus men working, an example is given that if a woman is speaking loudly, or is proactive and go-getter, she's labeled as aggressive, but there's a double standard, because a male professional would be labeled as assertive, which is positive, versus woman is kind of labeled as a negative. So for me, for example, people have said that I have no class. That was hurtful. But at the same time, other people said that, oh, you're a saint. So that was also not right to put somebody on a pedestal, because truth is, I'm just a human being. I like astronomy. I'm trying to, solve problems and do careers there. I'm just a person. And I think standing up for myself doesn't mean that I don't have classes. I mean, that's also not nice thing to say to your colleague. It comes from this power difference between the hierarchical structure of the academia. So, you have to be respectful to other people when you talk to them, even if they are just a custodian. You have to be respectful. So it probably comes easy to me, that aspect, because I've done all sorts of jobs as in customer service and in other positions where I was in a leading role. So I appreciate people when they do any work, and there's no shame to do any work. It's great to work. All right, so yeah, if I'm kind of like a salon de refusee with these numbers. So this is one. Let's see. Sorry. Oh yeah. So to put it into a bigger perspective, I know people within the astronomy who have applied to 3 positions and they got, or 1 position and they got that one, or applied to 3 positions and within a few months had 2-3 interviews and got a position. I think somebody told me they had 8 positions, and one of the online how to do postdoc PowerPoints. Some of the more senior astronomers wrote that 20 or 30 is a rule. I don't know. Um, I don't limit myself like said by a number, a total number. What do I do? Now I reduce it a little bit, like a few applications a week because it's taking a lot of time to do these applications and I have to do other things. And now, I cannot only do um, astronomy job applications, and also I choose my application based on my interests so far. Most of my applications right now are directly in my research interests, but you know, you can also apply to diversify and increase that number if you are applying to other research areas. I do it a small fraction because I will probably do it more if I don't get a job from this cycle. Now I have gotten my PhD in 2024. I defended it, so I hope I have a little bit more, but I'm not sure if it helps because in 2022 I thought, oh, I need one more first author paper, and I had a second first author paper, and I had co-author papers, but it didn't help. And I know people who have gotten a postdoc without any published papers. So, each person's path is different. And if you put it even into bigger perspective in terms of businesses, my screen went to sleep. Then there are businesses that were startups, and many of them had to apply for funding from hundreds of places before somebody said yes. So, when do you draw the line in terms of the doing the same thing over and over again and not getting a result? The definition of insanity. For example, Google had more than 100 attempts in initial stages to get to the next level, and then there's another company where the CEO and the founder is female, Catherine Minshew. The company's name is The Muse, and it's a job search company internationally. Right now has 500 companies or more, or around 500 companies, and she had 148 rejections. And I'm looking this way because my screen is this way. I read some things from there. So, I think number is meaningless. It is your situation. People come from different situations, different world situation, right? Different personal situation. So it's okay, and especially for people who maybe are not from the standard path, standard background in academia, you have to be kind of a pioneer and chart your own territory and make your own decisions. That's why I don't like when people say, I think it's a weak argument when you propose something or you do something and people say, oh, we have always done this way. No, we've always done this way. If this was a correct argument, then it's a comfortable argument, but it is not reasonable argument. We would be still not using electricity, trying to, if I wanted to cook this beef, I would have been trying with the stones get a spark and so it's okay to change and use your creativity and your talents and to come up with solutions for your problems, because probably you might be first time getting such problem, or you have to reach out of your circle if it's a small department and get perspective from other people. Maybe like I joined moms groups internationally, and that was helpful because there weren't that many mom academics, mom astronomers actually I should say, in my vicinity. So it was nice to chat with mom astronomers worldwide from USA and Europe. And I also didn't have a graduate women in science group at University of Turku, but I found out about Kumpula Women in Science in University of Helsinki, and I've met wonderful women from all sorts of science backgrounds and of all sorts of career stages, and it was very nice to have that fellowship with them. So it's a little bit for me. Um, I'm trying to look at my next note, a wild west with this postdoc applications, because everybody, every scientist who is hiring or who is giving you advice has their own idea, their own perspective, what it is that you have to do to get the job, or what is it that um, is a good CV, or so you have to also use your own um, thinking to make decisions. And definitely don't let people minimize your achievements. Sometimes I do feel after the PhD, because it's so focused in astronomy, and I have a diverse background, that somehow my achievements in other areas of life are minimized. And I had to remind myself that no, hold on, I'm not the, I bring a lot to the table. And maybe in this particular conversation with this person who has only done astronomy all their life, never worked anywhere else, they don't see the benefit. But I know I worked in industry, I worked at a NASA internship, I have done, you know, a lot. I did lab work, I have led clubs, so I had to remind myself that I bring a lot to the table, and um, it is also great that it's a Wild West today in astronomy, because if one person says no, second person says something negative, it I still keep believing that there are so many job applications and so many wonderful research teams in the world, that some people will appreciate my background. So I will not focus on the negative ones. And if something about me, like my bachelor degree in biology, is right away a sentence of death for this one institute selection committee, so let it be. I would rather work with another institute that appreciates diversity in achievements and transferable skills, which is what I think. Okay, so I'm not afraid if people don't think I'm a good fit. Okay, thank you for consideration. Next, let's move on and try somewhere else. Of course, it will be nice that people would be open to alternatives. It will be helpful if people who are in the hiring committees or who are hiring, that they are don't have just a narrow expectations that, oh, you should have been doing mathematics and computation for 20 years, and if you haven't done all these classes, you cannot do it. It also has some cultural and country specific, you know, sometimes in some countries it is more flexible what you can do with a certain degree, and in other cultures or countries it is not as much. So it could be that it's just the environment, cultural environment or cultural expectations are different, and you can judge. But especially in terms of being a mother or a parent and being a scientist, I would like people to be more open about it and more educated, because mothers and parents can be great scientists, and they can do, uh, just because somebody is a mother doesn't mean they have to wait 20 years before doing some task in science, like observing or doing a research project or leading a paper. You know, maybe they cannot go for drinks every Friday night because they have to go take care of their kids, but you know, they can still be great scientists. So having kids is not automatic. Um, it doesn't mean automatically that you're not capable of doing something, or you don't have time to do something like lead a paper or lead a team. All right. I have a few things that I wrote. One, to rise above. Sometimes it's uh, even people who you work with, and they are, you know, are supportive, they can say negative things, or you could be in a hostile environment. You know, people don't appreciate you, but try to rise above that, and um, not worry about that. I don't know. It comes to me a little bit naturally. I think that, for example, I grew up in an environment. Um, it was a little bit kind of a village environment, so people expected me to get married. Like if you didn't get married by 18, it was a big deal because you're getting to be an old maid. But somehow in my mind, I knew that my life would take me somewhere else, and it didn't bother me. This kind of things, which is it's okay if you want. I wanted to go beyond that environment, and my life did go beyond that environment, and I'm glad that I got education in the United States and etc. But really try to go above that bickering and uh, above somebody, some haters or whatever. I don't think they're haters, but sometimes people say insensitive things or judge you unfairly. So what? Just uh, go on. Academic world. Yeah. I wrote, yeah, especially if you've been through tough things like I have done, and some people have been through wars. Academic world is nothing. They cannot throw things if you have, at least, um, it cannot throw anything at me that I can't handle. And I remember a graduate student who graduated with a PhD, and her advisor said that because she taught 5 years in K through 12 education as a teacher, that the PhD world couldn't throw anything at her that she couldn't handle because she handled the kids in a middle school or high school wherever she taught as a teacher. So don't let the academic world scare you. And then celebrate your achievements. It was hard for me with a PhD because it was so stressful getting the PhD, and I didn't get a postdoc, so that was stressful. But it's sinking in, and I'm really happy. 2024, I got the PhD. So celebrate your achievements, and definitely don't even think about the shame, blame, shame game. Just there's no shame. Quit the blaming game. You do you, and I'm preaching it to myself. Yeah, even if people throw at you, it is on them. You go and do you. So I hope to demystify a little bit this process. Thank you for staying with me. This is super long, but I'm posting it.